Is it stomach?
Stomach is one of them.
Okay.
So this is left pancreas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stomach and spleen.
Stomach and spleen, okay.
Yeah. I think it's usually easier to go ahead and fight spleen first. So if you want to go and head over to that.
Should we roll him to his right side now?
Body of the spleen.
Should we put him in right lateral recumbency?
You guys can, whichever way he's comfortable, and you can get to the areas. We still have to look at, spleen is going to be left-sided, and then the rest of it kind of can be in really any position, and then iliacs will have to have him on both lateral sides. So it's kind of up to you guys, whichever one. If he'll lay in dorsal, that'd be easier, but if he won't lay in dorsal, then...
He has cardiomyopathy.
Jesus.
He has cardiomyopathy and he can't stay in dorsal.
Help her.
Yeah. So it's fine to have him. We'll just have to flip him back and forth a couple times is all.
I don't think he minds changing positions, right?
I don't think he does.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're actually kind of right to our spot. Here's your stomach, and then here's your spleen. Now what I want you to do is show me less stomach and more spleen. So just have a little sliver of that wall of the stomach coming right through here. You'll slide caudal to do that. There you go. Now we have that little tiny piece of stomach, and then we have the spleen. Now on this side, we're going to look below the spleen here.
Okay.
So I want you to make sure you have a little bit of extra depth there. I'd probably go up one or two. There you go. And then what I'd like you to do is just angle lateral until your spleen is kind of filling in this space. There you go. And then press 2 and just angle medial going through here. That'll show you the area of the pancreas on this left side. Good. Alright. And this patient, this size, is kind of hit or miss about what transducer works best. I think you could image pancreas on him with both this linear transducer that we've done and with the small curve transducer that we were using previously.
Okay.
So a lot of that personal preference, you just kind of have to look and evaluate your picture and then try whichever one you like best. I've just been able to see enough of this tissue in this area that I think this transducer is working well. Sometimes when you look with this transducer, all the tissue will look like this part down at the bottom where it's really, really dark. When that happens, we want to change to the next transducer up, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's work on stomach then next. All right, and then for stomach, if you'll just go right up to the xiphoid. We're going to do one picture and 2 videos. And so on him, his liver's kind of taking over the spot, so you'll slide just slightly caudal back to where we see more of that stomach centered. There you go, very nice. This transducer is showing the walls pretty nicely, but let's just kind of take a look at what we see of that stomach. If you'll angle towards the right and the left all the way through that stomach, just to kind of give us a lay of the land.
It's nice.
Good. And you're really able to see all of the stomach this way with this transducer. So this transducer is going to be able to work for us here too.
Okay.
This first picture, I just have you take any picture in long axis where you can see the walls well on that stomach and then maybe some rugal folds. Sometimes it looks a little bit rounded, which is helpful to see the rugal folds too. So if you'll just kind of angle right and left through there. There's several areas where you can see the walls nicely, and then there's some little tuck-ins like this that are all rugal folds.
So this would be okay for a picture? Would this be okay for a picture?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool.
Alright, and then after that we're going to do a video.
Okay.
Long axis video, we're just going to start outside of the stomach one direction, so all the way angled to one side. Big, huge angle, and if we're losing contact with that transducer, we'll have to make sure we have a little bit more gel there and keep that transducer with a little bit of pressure against the body.
Okay.
And then do me a favor, this is stomach up here still, so you'll need to slide or angle cranial to keep that in view.
Okay.
Oh,
I was sliding out of the way, so... Okay.
Do what?
I was trying to get lateral enough to not...
You'll just angle.
You'll just... Okay.
Yeah, not necessarily sliding, just angling. So our focus is to keep the stomach in the center off this end. If you'll
Okay.
slide or angle cranial. It's best to just stay at the xiphoid.
Yeah.
You might have to slide a little bit caudal on him just to keep the stomach in the center. Good. And then just point the beam towards the patient's right side and then the left side. There you go. There's one direction. Do a practice run for me. Angle the other direction. All the way through the stomach. Now losing contact with that gel again. Keep angling though.
But I feel like when I keep going, I'm losing contact with the patient.
So we're going to fix that problem in just a second. I want to make sure that angle goes okay to show us all of that stomach.
Okay.
So keep angling. That's what we're going to practice, right?
Yeah. Just angling, I'm going to be completely off the patient now.
Yeah, so you're going to keep contact with that transducer. You're going to keep it pressed down. And what you'll do is if you'll, I think the easiest way I can kind of describe this is by a little bit of a picture. A lot of people start pulling that transducer off the patient, which you are slightly, but not as much as maybe that you're doing right here. So if this is kind of the patient's abdomen and your transducer is pushed right down onto the patient, okay, like if this is your transducer base here, then what you're doing is you're trying to get that beam to swing all the way this way. And so to do that, your transducer cord is going to be hanging out all the way over off this side, okay? And then you're going to swing it around and have it angling all the way this way. So you're going to be pointing this direction. Your cord's, again, going to be pointing out. So you'll almost lay that transducer flat on one side and then flat on the other side to get that big angle. Sometimes people think it's easier to hold the transducer, the portion down here that is touching the patient with one hand, and then with the other hand, grab onto this cord and then just move the cord with this hand and swing the cord down this way and then swing the cord back around this way.
Okay.
That makes sense?
A little.
Okay. Try doing that motion again. It just takes getting used to the angles. So there's nice stomach. Keep angling through it. Don't worry about that loss of contact right this second. Keep your pressure. Push down and kind of scoop that transducer. There you go. Good. You're getting out of it. Keep going.
I feel like if I go any further, I'm not going to be on the patient.
Or the transducer's laying on its side.
Yeah, it's completely flat on the patient.
It's laying on its side.
I can't angle anymore.
Then what you're going to end up doing, if the transducer's completely flat, you have to move the part that has the beam coming out of it. So on this transducer, that flat part here. This part is what you'll have to think about moving. So you might have to push it a little bit with your fingers. If you can get a finger kind of down around this side or this side over here, then you can push it with your fingers. But if this transducer is really difficult for you to get that angle, the other thing that you can do is try the other transducer. But really it's figuring out how to get your muscles to move that way. I know you can do it. It's just a matter of figuring it out, which is something a lot of people struggle with right at the beginning.
Do you mean slide it in addition to fanning it?
You can if you can kind of fit within that rib space there. But a lot of times you're going to have a pretty narrow space where that transducer needs to sit.
If you were going to do that, I think you would have to use the smaller transducer.
Say that again, I couldn't quite hear that.
I said if we were going to do that and fit in the rib there, we probably would have to switch to the smaller transducer. The small curved one.
To slide? Or
Well,
to angle?
to slide it over and have it pushed in so that she could get the stomach.
So it's the transducer width is going to be the same as far as fitting between the rib space from right to left, because you're in long axis now.
Right.
So that part's not going to change. It's really about your angling. Try to think about it like an ice cream scoop, and you're scooping underneath that rib cage on one side and scooping underneath the rib cage on the other side.
Okay.
I promise you can do it. I know it's complicated at first.
Well, I think
but
for me
that
that's
is what we need to be doing to get out of this stomach. If you can slide a little bit towards the patient's left side also to get out of the stomach a little bit, you can, but then the problem we run into when we slide is that we lose the stomach this direction. So we need to keep angled up towards the head. So slide or angle cranial just to keep this stomach in the center.
Okay.
Good. And then you're going to point the beam as far as you can towards the patient's left side. And then start with your fingers, kind of push that transducer beam and point it out of the stomach.
Okay.
That's a little bit better. We're still not quite angled cranial enough because the stomach...
But I don't want the stomach to be in the image, I thought.
Say
Like,
that
once
one
I'm
more
all the way to the left side.
time. Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
But I thought I want the stomach out of the image once I get all the way to the left side, so...
You do, but you want the stomach to kind of fade away while it's still centered. Right now the stomach is sliding off our screen this way, which means that we're sliding a little bit caudal instead of angling to the patient's left more. Let's try with the other transducer and see if you have an easier time with that one, with that small curved transducer. The other thing that you can do is practice like on a table without the patient there, and sometimes to get that motion it clicks a little bit more. So let's see. If you're in long axis now, let's slide a little caudal and get that stomach back in view. Good. Stomach's right here. I'm going to go up to harmonics for you. And then I want you to angle all the way to patient's right till you're out of stomach. Good. Now angle all the way back to the left till you're out of the stomach. Keep going. Just a big scooping motion. Keep going. You're doing good.
I'm completely flattened off the patient again.
So you're gonna have to push that part of the transducer that's touching the patient kind of up. So is he in left lateral recumbency or right lateral
He's
recumbency?
sort of in right lateral recumbency.
Okay. So part of the reason that this is a little bit harder for you right here is because you're doing it from the side. So if you're going to end up having to really get your hand maybe into a different position, but you can get that beam to go out of the stomach. I know you can, it's just a matter of getting us to do it. So do me a favor, move that camera over the top of you guys. I want to kind of watch what your hand's doing, and then I'm going to have you practice not at the stomach itself in just a second. You'll move it a little bit closer to you there. Okay, so one of the things that might help you, if you'll hold that transducer more like an ice cream scoop and less like a pencil. So right now you're holding it like a pencil. If you'll bring your hand around kind of the opposite direction.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, now angle slowly towards the left side. You're going to really bend your wrist. So up towards the ceiling. Good. Now that you're there, start bringing that transducer itself, kind of pulling it towards you.
Pulling it towards me?
The beam. So you're still keeping contact.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're doing, so right now, your beam is pointed off this direction, okay? What I want you to do is pull that beam towards you. Start bringing it around like a circle.
Just bend your wrist.
Okay, go the other way. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going a little bit more. You're almost there. My screen's catching up to me. Do you still see stomach in that screen?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, hold on just a second. My screen, I think your machine's about to kick me off with the internet. Sorry.
Do you want me to plug it into the Ethernet?
And that would be best. Yeah, we would always prefer Ethernet.